Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafty Concepts with Erin. I'm so glad you're here. I have a scrapbook layout for you today. I have the Freshly Baked collection from Close to My Heart, which is a very kind of holiday baking, Christmas inspired paper pack, but I'm going to show you how to do something completely different with it. I have these photos. This is my oldest son and his girlfriend, and then there's a group shot of all of us. Yes, Clayton always being goofy down there. But we were in Rome, and this was our favorite gelato place. So when you see this photo of all of that delicious gelato and the macaroons here, or macarons, however you want to say it, in front, everything was so fun and colorful. And this paper, when I first saw it, it made me think of Neapolitan ice cream. And then I just kind of clicked in my brain with this picture of our gelato experience in Rome. And it's going to be perfect, I think. To help me capture that ice cream gelato feel, I have the Scoops and Sprinkles Stampin' Thin Cut set. So this is so cute because you get die cuts to cut out the scoops of ice cream and the cone, and then all of these texture stamps to add like sprinkles to your ice cream, or you can add texture to your cone here. But not only that, these are just great background and texture stamps that you could use on non-ice cream layouts as well. So you get all the thin cuts, they come on their own magnetic sheet in the same envelope, which is really nice. But they are, you know, this little kind of ice cream waffle cone look is bigger than the actual cone, so you could totally use that very easily to create background texture with all of these. Like this one, how perfect would that be for like sand or mud splatter stripes, and then these cute little triangles which are like little mint chocolate chips, but you could use that for different things, and I love that. I love using my stamps for more than their intended purpose. This one is Ooh La La Macaron, and it says life is sweeter with friends and macarons, you're sweet and ooh la la, and then you have a stack of the macaron cookies here, which again are lined up in the case of this photo, which I think is just so cute. So that is from last year's catalog, but I double checked and it is still available. It's a little hard to see there, so I want to show it to you. Aren't those cute? They made a slimline card with those, but they're just so fun. I'm going to use those to embellish my layout today along with the ice cream scoops. So let me get this cleared up and we will jump right into today's layout. I am creating a single page layout, so I'm going to bring in one VersaMat today. For my paper selection, I definitely want to use this one and the sprinkles, maybe a little bit of this kind of grid. It is made to look like a cookie cooling rack. This one is super cute, but it definitely has that, you know, cookies and baking theme. The other side is milk and cookies, so super cute. You can see, again, lots of non-holiday uses you could do with this, but I'm going to set that one aside for another project and just focus on these three today. So what I'm envisioning here, let me set those aside, is I really love this one because it looks like sprinkles, but this is a really busy pattern paper, so that could kind of easily dominate the layout. What I'm going to do is create a frame style layout. So this is vanilla, which is the featured color in this. It's not white daisy, it is vanilla. So this, I am going to, I'll gut out the center of this, but we're going to create that frame style layout. Now you can see that it doesn't really, your eye doesn't really pick up that line. So what I'm going to do is add just a thin border. This is like 1/16 of an inch of the Mocha paper, and do you see what a big difference that makes? So my Mocha is 11 inch squared and the vanilla is a 1/16 of an inch, or 1/8 of an inch smaller. So we have a 1/16 inch border around the edge. Hopefully that makes sense. So I will go ahead and get this gut out. You definitely need this style of paper trimmer to do this technique, and I am lining it up with the inch mark and stopping 1 inch from the top, going 1 inch up from the bottom. So I'm leaving a 1 inch margin all the way around the outside. And that will give me plenty of room to adhere my layout and still save a big chunk of this pattern paper here. So I'm just spinning it, repeating that, starting at the 1, ending at the 11. And if you don't, you know, if your corners don't meet up perfectly, it's not a big deal. Just take your little microtip scissors and snip that out just like that, and you have this big piece to save for a different project. I get these removable glue dots on Amazon. I've also seen them at like Joann's or any craft store like that. And I just like to put one in opposite corners, so 2 dots total. And that keeps my papers from moving around on my mat here. You can secure it with washi tape also, but I don't want to look at it. I know that sounds funny because it's just temporary. So I like to have my glue dots underneath so it looks nice and clean. And then we left ourselves a little margin so we can adhere this, and then I will get these adhered together off camera. So I've gone ahead and put adhesive around the edge, and then using my measurements on my VersaMat, I can line those up because we have measurements all the way around. So I've got half inch, and then I can just eyeball that, and it comes out darn near perfect just by lining it up on the VersaMat. Let's bring in the T-square ruler and see how we did. This is the new T-square ruler that I've demonstrated a few times in my videos. It's so nice because it goes, it's 14 inches, so it goes all the way across. But let's see how we line it up, and look at that. Perfect. I love it. One of the designs I like to revisit frequently when I have photos like this, like 3 photos, is print them in 3x4s and line them up across the center. It just always seems to look nice. So I think that I'm going to tilt these a little bit here. And you know, I don't mind covering up the edges of the center one because there's nothing important in that area. Before I cut up my 12x12, I do have this scrap, and I'm going to see if that will work. And then I got the workshop option, which comes with additional bonus pattern papers. This came as a 12x12, these big strips, and this one looks exactly like a waffle cone pattern to me. So I cut that, separated it out from the rest of the pattern paper, and I do want to use this as well. So what I'm thinking is if we do kind of like a horizontal line across the bottom here, and then let's see, I kind of wanted both of these going all the way across, but maybe it'll work, and that way I don't have to cut up that larger piece of pattern paper. You know what, I think that's actually going to work. That's going to look good. Perfect. I'm going to grab my ink, and then we'll ink up the edges of these 2 pieces. I'm going to use a little Mocha ink and my little sponge tool here and ink up the edges of the pattern paper. So as I mentioned, these were, a trip to get some gelato, which we did a whole lot of. This last summer, we spent just a little over 3 weeks in Italy. And when we were in Rome, we discovered our favorite gelato store. I don't know why, it was just amazing. I mean, it was good everywhere we went, but this was unanimously voted everybody's favorite gelato stop. And I love coffee flavored ice cream, so naturally I'd get the coffee gelato. I did try coconut and a few other flavors, but I kept returning to coffee because it was just so good. And this one did not disappoint. Delicious. We did so much walking over there, I felt like I can eat all that ice cream and gelato. And, it was okay. I needed that energy, right? At least that's what I told myself. But it was fun. Definitely a treat and something you have to do when you are visiting Italy, because it does not taste the same over here in the States. That's for sure. I found that to be true for most of the food over there and the beverages. Totally different. Okay, so I've got those inked up. A little dimension, a little separation, and let's see, yeah, perfect. Normally I like to kind of lay everything out before I adhere them down, but I'm pretty confident I'm going to like the way this is going. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the layout. And again, it's really nice because look, I just put it on the 2, line it up with the 2 on the other side, and you know that it is straight. This pattern paper is so cute. There's an actual cookie recipe on this side. So it's kind of like a tone on tone. There's Scarlet background with the little writing for the cookie recipe. And I just love that. Actually, I'm going to flip this over and make sure we're centered just like that. Let me bring my photos back down into position and then we can start working on the fun embellishments. I'm going to slide my whole layout over to the left here so we have room for the stamping. I have Flamingo, Vanilla, and Glacier. And then we are going to die cut the different scoops of ice cream, one from each cardstock. So there's 3 different scoops, each with a little bit different dripping there. So I'm just going to put 1 on each and then a piece of toffee for my cone. I'll go ahead and get these die cut off camera. For my stamping, I'm going to bring in my second VersaMat and flip it over. There's this nice foam backing, which is really helpful for stamping. I have a piece of scratch paper down, and then I'm going to pull off the different textures. I think I'm going to do this kind of splattery one, and then the sprinkles, and then this chip one here. So I'll have 3 different looks. I'm going to use Mocha. I'm picking that up with my block, and this is brand new, so I'm seasoning it by just rubbing it on my arm. And then I always like to practice on my scratch paper and make sure that is stamping well. So right over our Glacier for like a mint chocolate chip look. Isn't that cute? And then let me grab my stamp chamois and kind of clean up. So I like to blot the excess ink off, and then my stamp chamois is moistened. It sits in this case, so that kind of protects it from papers falling on it. And then I can put this back on the carrier sheet and move on to this one, which is a little bit more like cookies and cream look, maybe. Kind of just a crushed up cookie dough, maybe something like that. I don't know, but I'm using Toffee ink for this one, and I'm going to stamp it over the vanilla scoop of ice cream. Just like that. Isn't that cute? I like that. So I'm going to use the tiny little sprinkles here and in Scarlet. This is Flamingo cardstock, and I thought about doing Flamingo ink on the Flamingo paper, but there is a little bit of Scarlet in our striped pattern paper, so I thought it'd be fun to bring that color in just a little bit more. So that stamp is smaller, so you have to stamp several times to get those to cover the whole scoop of ice cream. Now I have Glacier and a soft blending brush, and I'm just going to ink up the edges of these to make them look more dimensional. So just giving a little shadowing on the edge, and this brush it just applies the color really nice and soft, which is the look I'm going for. So you can see that when I hold that up in the camera there. For my vanilla, I'm going to use Toffee to ink up the edges to give it a little definition so it stands out against that background. I love that you can totally customize your ice cream to coordinate with your layout by cutting out the scoops from, whatever pattern paper or cardstock colors you want. And then, of course, you can dress them up with these fun texture stamps that give them the different looks. So here I'm adding some Flamingo to the outside of this one, just a little bit across the bottom there. And you can see what a difference that makes, just a little ink on the edge there. I want to put my ice cream over here, and you know what though, that's going to cover up Clayton's face. So let's move this picture to the left-hand side and swap those, because this photo has a lot more room that we can overlap, and it's not going to cover up anything important. So let me stack my little ice cream scoops up here. How cute is that? I think I want to stamp my cone. I wasn't going to because I have the same crisscross pattern in the background on that pattern paper, but it just looked a little bare. Yeah, that does look better. I like that. From the coordinating sticker sheet, I chose a title, and we also have this border sticker here. It's really cute. It looks like little swirling icing. So I'm going to finish off the transition across the bottom there. And then for my title, this says sweet, and then there's a couple banner pieces. This says living the, and this one says life. So my title will read Living the Sweet Life, which I thought was definitely appropriate. We're eating delicious gelato in Rome, so I'd say we're definitely living the sweet life at the moment. I'm going to ink these up with Mocha ink just to give them a little contrast, and then I will also pop it up on foam tape. This is the regular 3D foam tape. There is also a thin 3D foam tape if you don't like bulk on your layout. I'm mindful of it, but I don't think this is too much dimension. I really do like it. It's sticking to my finger there. And then I'll repeat the process with this one so they match. Just quickly going around the edge with the ink that's already in my sponge tool there. And then using my nonstick scissors to trim that up. flush with the edge there, and I think that's going to be really cute. So we want to add our little macarons. I go back and forth. I want to say macaroons, but I think it's macarons. So I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about. I have intense black ink because I'm going to be coloring these in with my Spectrum Noir TriBlend markers. So I'm using my Misty just in case I don't get a good impression. I can stamp it again, but that looks pretty good. Now you do want to let that dry a second before you color with your markers. I have pale pink shades and blue turquoise, and I chose these colors to complement the colors in my layout. Now I love these markers because you do not have to be a coloring expert to make it look good. They have 3 shades in one, your light, medium, and dark. I like to start with the dark. I'm starting with the darkest shade, going around the edge and using flick-like motions towards the center. Now I'm going to kind of just continue the process with the medium shade, just little tiny flick marks, and then blend it all in with the lightest shade. So you get this kind of highlight in the center, which really accentuates the roundness of this cookie. I will add a little stickles to the center filling in the end, which looks really cool, so hang tight for that. I used the blue turquoise for the second cookie. These do come with a coordinating die. You can get them with or without the die. I'm going to cut them out because I don't want that bottom cookie. I just wanted the 2. Now this piece is a bonus die cut that comes with the workshop, so I love to use these to layer my embellishments. So I'm going to stack my little cookies. Here's a word that says yummy from the coordinating sticker sheet. I did mat that on Mocha. Now this one is Happy Turkey Day. This is a pie. It's a pie crust, but I thought it looked just like the waffle cookie that they put in our gelato. So I thought, how perfect is that? But like the little waffle cookie, I want the edges to be irregular, and this makes a perfect circle because there's lots of little die cuts in there that you can mix and match to make the cutest little pies. So we're just taking a couple chunks out, and then I will ink this up with Mocha so it has kind of that toasted look like the little waffle cookies do. And then I will just layer this right up the top because the word yummy isn't really standing out against that background. So this is going to help that pop just a little bit more. Plus, how fun to use a pie stamp and thin cut to make a waffle cookie. This is our background elements texture stamp. I'm going to use this one because it kind of looks like maybe cookie crumbles, and I'm moving this aside to stamp underneath. So I've already got that mounted on my block, and I've already glued my photos down, so I'm going to just cover them with a piece of scratch paper and then stamp down so it'll be coming out from underneath that circle, the scallop circle. And we'll do another one right over here. I think that's going to look fun. We like to call this controlled splatter in the scrapbooking world. So if you are afraid of splattering, then this is the ticket for you because you can really control where it goes. So let me bring back in my little die cuts and get those layered up. I'll go ahead and get everything adhered off camera. Now these are the freshly baked coordinating dots, and they come in all the colors to complement this collection, and they're also different sizes and shapes. So there's these cute little flamingo pink hearts, and I thought I'd put a few up here around my embellishment cluster. But you know, I don't know, maybe these Scarlet ones would look better. I'm going to swap these out because I think the Scarlet's going to be, it's going to be the one. Yeah, I like that. It just kind of pops a little bit more off the layout. So I'd like to do things in odd numbers, so I'm just going to put these in a triangle formation, and I will add some down around the title as well. So here's my stickles. This is diamond stickles, and the liquid pearls work really well for this too, and I know it's hard to appreciate it on camera here, but it looks really neat in person. It's super sparkly and dimensional. Let me hold that up and see if we can catch that sparkly goodness in the light. I think you can see it there. It just looks really cool in person. And how cute are those scoops of ice cream? I totally love it. So I hope this gave you some alternative ideas and just a little creative way to use your collections other than their intended purpose. You can find everything I used to create this layout listed in the description box below, and I would love it if you'd give me a big thumbs up, and I will catch you next time. Bye.